Hello, my friends. I'm Dr. Tracy Lewis. Welcome to Victory Over Grief. This is going to be an exciting moment in your life. Trust me, your life will never be the same. You will have victory over grief. Hello. Welcome to session 5 of Victory Over Grief. We're getting stronger by the week. I know this has been a process for you, and I'm sure that when you signed up, you had no idea how in-depth it was for you to really overcome pain. But you didn't enter into pain overnight. Pain was a process, and as events happened in your life, more and more pain was compounded to the place that this particular event in your life that brought you to this gathering was more than you could bear. And I hope last week helped you as we talked about our ability to increase our capacities and our quotients that make our core identity and our truth of victory helpful to us to begin to attack and begin to strategize how to remove this enemy we call grief, who weakens and harms our life and steals and robs our quality of being. So let's get right into lesson 5. I would just want to remind you, as we began our session last time, that we talked about how we are compared and likened as human beings to a tree, and that we're to be like a tree planted by rivers. And we're going to talk about those 8 rivers of wholeness when we begin to take our action plan. But also that we have fruit to bear and leaves to heal, and that we have a core, the trunk of our tree has to be strong to bear up under the adversities or the winds or the storms of life, and that we don't become uprooted and we don't become hopeless and we don't become unfruitful and we don't become entangled or distraught or wither away and not able to give anything back to other people. These are the things that we're addressing in these core lessons on the 2 core things of victory. So the first one we covered last time, and today we're going to cover core number 2 of our victory. And I shared with you in our closing of our session last time that we're going to talk about the 10 elements of wholeness that every human being needs. If you were created and you are human, which all of us are, I don't think there are any clones among us. I don't think there are any robots among us. We don't live in the Matrix. We are here because we entered into this cosmos, this age of persons, through the womb of a woman, and we became a human being. And we talked about how we're a 3-part being. We are a spirit. We have a soul, which encompasses our mind, our will, and our emotions, our thoughts, our feelings, and our want-tos. And we live, or we are housed within a physical body, and that all 3 parts of us work together to carry us through this life. And in this journey, we are looking at, when it comes to grief, the inside, the soulish realm, and we are dealing with that mindset of our thoughts, our emotions, and our changes in behavior, our desires, and fulfilling God's plan for our life and our destiny, and finding out why we're really here is definitely something that blossoms once we remove loss and pain from our life. I'm very sorry for the losses that you've acquired and for the things that you have experienced that have brought you pain, but I am excited because I know that the things that we are sharing in this particular journey of victory over grief are going to help you not only remove the pain of the present losses you're experiencing, but understand where they came from and why they became too much, and identify all the losses in your life, remove them once and for all through a process that I'm teaching you. And as you begin to go forward in your life, you will forever, you hear me, forever, if you will act on it and you will take what you know and apply it to your life, you will forever have victory over grief and live a quality, exciting, purposeful, meaningful life in peace and in happiness and in fellowship with other humans and experiencing and building legacies and taking a journey in life that is well worth it and giving you a very reason to live and a very reason to engage in daily activities. Because I know some of you, you're not engaging in daily activities, but we're almost there for you to begin to work the process. So stay with me today as we go on this journey and we look at core number 2. Core number 2 is going to identify the root system. It's going to identify the seeds and the soil. They kind of all go together when we look at these 10 things that have to be a part of our life. And that once we understand these 10 things, we will also make sure that we are giving these 10 things to other people. We will also identify when we meet up with someone who has a need or is broken or is in despair, what one of these 10 things might be lacking in their soil that we can add nutrients, that we can feed, that we can water. So I'm excited about this today. I hope that you will have a notebook handy because it's going to be important for you to make some notes in today's lesson. It's pretty deep and it's pretty long, and I want you to remember that in order to grow in the knowledge and to grow in your emotional health and grow in your relational health and be able to handle adversity, that you've got to be able to digest this information and apply this information in your life. So I'm excited about that. So as trees, as those who are planted by the rivers, and as people who desire to bear fruit and be fruitful and multiply and build legacies, and as people that not only want to build legacies and not only want to do that, but we want to serve, our lives want to serve for healing of others and making life better for other people, we have to have the proper root system. We have to understand how to sow and what needs to be planted in the soil of our life to have a strong root system, and how to drink from the rivers that are available to us, and how to guard and protect and value the seeds that have been planted on the inside of us. And so as there are seeds in us, there needs to be fertilizer to those seeds. So the 10 things I'm going to speak about today are kind of that fertilizer that we need to cause the tree to become from a little seedling into a great oak. One that is able to persevere under any type of trial, fire, circumstance, situation. Every person needs a root system of wellness and identity. We talked more about identity last time. This time we're going to talk more about that root system of wholeness and where does it come from? What are the nutrients that every human being needs? These are core values of victory. I want you to say that with me. What are the 10 things that are the core nutrients of victory? These core values of victory will make a strong root system in your life to grow into a healthy and fruitful tree. In order to process and be free from pain and loss that grief brings, we have to examine these things so that we can remove pain and loss all the way back to its root system. You say, wait a minute. I thought I got on this group just to handle the fact that my father just died and I can't manage it well. Well, my friend, you did. But if we don't look at your root system and we don't remove the barriers so that you can forever have a bountiful life, then event after event will just hit you again and again and again. But we want you to have this place of wholeness, that you can be a bountiful and strong tree that bears up under anything for the rest of your life, so that you can have a well-meaningful life filled with dreams, desires, aspirations, relationships, and good things that defeat the enemy of loss forever. And I hope that you are beginning to understand that the loss of your father and the pain of it and your inability to remove it is connected to other things. If you embrace these truths that I'm about to share with you today, you will be able to navigate, investigate, and heal that root system in your life that is inhibiting the ability for you to feel free and happy. And if you will apply what you're learning, I promise you that no matter how deep the loss, no matter how many the situations and circumstance and fiery darts that you face from day to day for the rest of your life that may ever come, you will be able to heal quickly and live again without intense struggle and pain like you are feeling right now over that particular loss that brought you here to get help. And you can live in victory for the rest of your days. Sounds pretty awesome to me. So right now we're going to discover the very nutrients that have been missing in the soil of your life that made you strong enough and gave your ability to build a strong core and have components that would give you the ability to navigate through. Once you find out what's lost or lacking, you can add to it and you can change the very trajectory of your own life and be your own boss and be in control of your future and your destiny, that you would be able to fulfill what God intended you to fulfill. And you can say goodbye to that pain that is hindering you from doing it. And then right now, as you do that, you can now be present with your family, with your friends, with yourself and your dreams and your future. Now we must understand that all relationships are unique and there are no exceptions to that. These 10 essentials or nutrients that every person needs will bring a foundation to our wellness and our identity. And foundation is everything. Without foundation, there will be no strong structure and no sustainability in our lives. So remember, we're talking about becoming a strong tree, and a strong tree has to have a strong root system. If our root system is shallow, when the winds blow, we're going to be taken down. We're going to be destroyed. When the rains come and beat against that tree, it's going to bend and possibly break. God never intended for you to fall. He never intended for you to break. He's the restorer of paths to dwell in. He's the repairer of walls that are broken down. He's the repairer of the breach, the places where things got in and crept in that stole and robbed and killed and destroyed your quality of life. You see, the weakness that is hindering you and the ability to come into a place where you live a healthy, happy, and strong life, knowing where you're going, knowing your purpose, and being able to obtain the life that you desire to have, lies within these 10 things. And these 10 things have a relationship to the event that you have crossed that is too much for you. They have a relationship to the thing, the event, or the person that you lost. If you've never looked at these 10 things, you're in for a real awakening. Try to stay with me today as I assimilate this information with you. I am about to reveal to you the things missing in the nutrients that caused you not to be able to grow a strong root system and withstand adversity in your life. And they will even help you address the root of the reason grief has taken hold and how to remove the loss. Have you ever tried to pull up a root and you found that there were other things tangled around it that tried to hold it in the ground? That's what grief is like. It's like a separate kind of root system that's trying to choke out the real healthy root of your tree. And when you are missing some of these ingredients or nutrients in the soil around the root system, it will actually create a hole where a stone can be wedged or lodged. And stones and improper root systems, if stones get in, then it will actually stop the root from being able to grow. Picture today a river that represents life. Life that is flowing in, life that is flowing out. Life is something that is supposed to be always fluent in our life, if that makes sense. And then picture that river, picture 8 rivers, 8 streams coming into your tree. There's a root system underneath and it's embedded in the ground, and you're planted by a river, and you're planted by 8 different rivers. Just look at that. And then picture those rivers that are coming in filled with stones. And those stones can actually build up to the place that they dam up the river that's trying to get to your tree to feed it the nutrients and the nourishment it needs to grow and to thrive. When the issues of life come in, those rocks of pain and loss in your life can stop the flow of the river of wellness. Your life and its ability to flow freely in and out of your community, of your relationships, of your own self, are blocked by debris. You see, what you don't know is that the rocks that entered in of pain stop the loss of your development and your movement and your evolution or evolving into who God meant you to be without you even knowing it. So we're going to go from that pot of pain that we talked about in one of our earlier sessions, and we're going to take those rocks and we're going to put them into the rivers of life for a moment. So we can see that as our life was going on, rocks were building up. So I'm giving you a new illustration from the stove and the pot and the fire and the steam. Now we're going to take and we're going to liken those rocks that got into the rivers that were trying to flow in and out of our life to bring us the abilities and the capacities and the hope and the healing that we needed. And these rocks of loss stopped and trapped us and our root system and its weakness. So we're going to talk about all those things. I know it sounds a bit confusing right now, but it'll all make sense in just a little bit. I hope I've made you curious by now to find out what these 10 components are. I know I've been telling you that we're going to share with you about 10 components and nutrients that are necessary to keep the tree growing, and how your pain and the water is blocked by your pain and your loss, and so life isn't being able to flow in, and the root system is being choked out by the rocks that are in the root system. So what are these 10 components? What are these 10 nutrients that every human being needs in order to grow a healthy and a happy tree? And how we know we're going to remove the rocks to let the water flow, but the water shouldn't flow in until the root system is addressed. So let's talk about the root system today and the nutrients it needs to grow a healthy tree. I'm just going to go through the 10 things and I'm going to explain them to you. These are things that you should have received in the very beginning of your life, in your formative years, those years between the ages of birth and 5 years old. That's right, 5 years old. In fact, who you are really going to be, 75% of your identity, your self-worth, your value as a human being, and who you are purposed to be is actually put in your foundation by the age of 5. 75% of who you're going to become. And then by age 15, the other 25% is put in there. So you see, a lot of things that happen in a child's upbringing are so impactful to the future of that individual. Wow. But the good thing is, if you didn't get the nutrients, it's never too late. That's one of the awesome things about being in the kingdom of God, that if you will allow the Creator, the one who made you with great thought and intent and purpose, to instill or put into your nutrients what you were lacking in your foundational years through your relationship with Him, nothing will be lost. Everything can be restored, and fruitfulness can happen, and legacy can take place. So let's take a look at the 10 things that every person needs. Are you ready? Okay, write these 10 words down. The first one is attention. Attention is our need for people to convey to us sincere and appropriate care and support, and interest and concern. Attention says, I will enter your world because I care for you, and I want to get to know what it's like to be you. Every person, every human being on the planet needs to have attention shown to them. Was attention lacking in your soil as a child? Did people enter your world getting to know what it was like to be you just because they cared? Number 2 is acceptance. Acceptance says, even if nothing changes about you, I will love you just the way you are. Did the people around you who nurtured you give you, or even right now in your life, are you feeling acceptance? That people say to you, even if nothing ever changes, I will love you just the way you are. The third one is appreciation. When people recognize not only who you are, but what you've done and what you've accomplished, and they are grateful for it. For example, appreciation says, thank you for your call. It means a lot to know that you care. Support. Support says, here I am to walk alongside of you, and I'm here as long as you need me to be, until we get to the other side. Please allow me to carry this with you right now, until you feel like you can carry it alone. The next one is encouragement. Encouragement says, I will inspire you, I will give courage to you, and I will give insight to you that will give you hope. Encouragement says that you will make a huge impact, and the sacrifices that you made in life will not go unnoticed. Next, we have affection. Affection is a type of physical closeness that a person displays, showing that they genuinely care. It might be a hand on your shoulder saying, I'm so glad you came today. It could be a handshake. It could be a hug. There are so many different types of affection that can be given to make a person feel valued. The next one is respect. This is when people add value and worth to our life, and they hold us in high regard. They do that by including our opinions as valuable. They might say something to us like, which restaurant would you like to choose? Is there something that you have to say about this event in my life because I value your opinion? The next one is security. Security is the need for those that show and tell us that they love us to protect us from hurt or harm or dysfunctional or painful relationships. Security says, I'm here for you. I'll always be here for you, and you can count on me. The next one is comfort. Comfort are the people who say to us that they're sorry for how we might be feeling, or they're sorry for our mother being sick and that they'll be happy to pray for them, and if we need anything, just to let them know. And the next one is approval. Approval is when a person gives a favorable opinion about us and lets us know that we have many attributes and qualities, and they're pleased with our work now and our performance. And they might even say to us, you did a great job at that. I wish I could do it like you. You are an amazing person. In life, all human beings need all 10 of these nutrients in order to become the greatest, the strongest tree that is fruitful in all that we do. You see, it was meant for those who love us and nurture us in our formative years, in the very beginning stages of our life. At the time we were in our child-rearing years, from the ages of birth to 5 years old, all that we're going to become is found during those years, and that is when these nutrients are to be put into the soil of our life. But many of us are born into families who also had unmet expectations and nutrients in these same areas, and they weren't able to pass them along to us. And secondly, their ability to connect us with the Creator, our Creator God, and His ability to give them to us, because God, in our relationship with Him, will also provide for us the affection, the attention, the affirmation, the security, the support, and all the different things that these 10 attributes bring in our life. We also can experience them in our relationship with God. Not having them, we can often feel alone and not have a high self-worth and not be able to handle emotional pain or adversity. And we can't have healthy relationships without being able to handle emotional pain and adversity. If you experienced in your upbringing the lack of any of these 10 things, then perhaps your core identity and your core of who you really are has been damaged and needs to be corrected and healed so that you can identify pain and be able to remove it. If in your family and journey of life you experience the absence of these attributes within the core of your becoming a whole person, and then in your adulthood you experience the same lack of nutrients in your relationships and in the events that took place in your life, then you have probably filled up a pretty big pot of pain. Not only do you have a pot full of pain, but you have rivers that are filled with debris and rocks that have to be removed for the water to flow, the life of balance to flow in your life. And we're going to talk about those 8 rivers around your tree that bring about balance and wholeness in a person's life. And as we do, and as we see those things, we will then have to go back to these 2 core truths about victory: the 4 Qs and the 10 attributes. When we look at the situations in our life, when we look at the lack of emotional wholeness in our life and emotional capacity in our life to be able to navigate through adversity, we will find that we must look at our 4 Qs and we must look at our 10 components. And we will find that they're related to our loss. It'll all make sense to you very soon as we begin to work the process. Today you might be leaving this group saying, I'm not quite sure what I learned, but trust me, when we get to the action process, which is starting next week, you will begin to apply and you will begin to assess whether or not your IQ, your EQ, your RQ, and your AQ are at full capacity regarding the thing that you're working through, and whether or not you have the attention, the affection, the approval, the security, the support, and all these other 10 things available in your life. So join us in our chat room this week, and we're going to really talk even more about these 10 nutrients and how important they are in a person's life. And if we didn't get them, how can we get them now? And how can we understand that we've brought that into our relationship with pain so that we can address it and we can crush it and we can remove it, so that we are going to be a tree that is receiving from the 8 rivers of wholeness, a tree that has the capacity to bear more fruit, that has the capacity to build legacy, and has the capacity to remove the pain of that grief and of that loss so that we can live fully in our purpose, fully in our destiny. I hope you're going to come to our chat group this week, and I hope you're going to come back to our next session where the work really begins. Say this with me: I'm ready to do the work. That's right. You've got to be ready to do the work. It's time to take action. Now we have all the IQ we need to be able to heal and make whole and increase our capacity in our EQ, restore our relationships in our RQ, and finish and complete the relationships that we've left unfinished and unresolved. Handle adversity more than we ever thought possible, and have fruit on our tree that can produce a legacy and leaves on that tree that can bring healing to others. I'm excited about it, and I hope these 10 things make sense to you today, and that we will be well on our way to victory over grief. Bye for now.